Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into the show, which will begin in a moment, I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions throughout the stream, remember you can always ask them on our website. We have a live chat support ready and able to help you. My team there is available if you have any questions about any of our products, services, or just have a question for fun. Check it out. Link will be down below in the description.
The stream will be starting shortly, but while you wait, you can check out our sponsors 8cap, Forex Tester, and Superfunded. You can find the links to them down in the description below.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into the show, which will begin in a moment, I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions throughout the stream, remember you can always ask them on our website. We have a live chat support ready and able to help you. My team there is available if you have any questions about any of our products, services, or just have a question for fun. Check it out. Link will be down below in the description.
Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream here, Monday through Friday. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd. We're into the May month here and off to a pretty volatile start. I am joined here by James, who is our reporter of news. What's going on, James?
Nothing much. We have not a whole lot going on today. We have the JOLTs jobs openings coming up here in about 30 minutes, and we're excited to see what those reports come up to leading up to NFP on Friday. But other than that, not a whole lot else going on. We have a little bit of New Zealand dollar news happening later this afternoon, but as far as right here, right now, just looking at that.
Yep, and then tomorrow, of course, we've got the big one. We've got at 2 p.m. We will be live for this one. We've got an action-packed show tomorrow for you guys. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, we've got PMI in the morning, services PMI, and then we have Fed funds rates coming out at 2 p.m. followed by 2:30 the press conference. So a loaded day tomorrow. Today is probably a good prep day to take a look at some charts and jump into all of that good stuff. James, we've got a video from our event coming. I heard back a little bit from the guys at OAND. I'll have to get back to you on that. But for those of you guys who are not familiar, we had a recent event, a seminar in Atlanta. It was really fun. James and Chandler did a great job filming the whole event, and that video is coming out to you guys shortly. I'm excited to get that out pretty soon. James, that's going to be awesome.
Yep. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. James, thank you for the news as always, and we'll catch up with you in just a little bit when we hear about our sponsor today. All right.
Thank you.
Cool. So, guys, yes. So today, in terms of market volatility, we're here on the air about 30 minutes before, of course, the JOLTs job openings. We'll be going through that together today. Of course, let's take a look at what that report is. For those of you who are less familiar, the JOLTs job openings. So it is the number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry, released monthly about 35 days after the month ends. It's released late, but can impact the market because job openings are a leading indicator of overall employment. So, of course, we get NFP, which gives us non-farm employment, but this is sort of the jobs openings, right? So if you could think about jobs being a big contributor to economic health, if you have jobs, lots of job openings coming out in the United States. I believe last time around we had our first time under 10 million. Today we are expecting 9.74 million here in the United States. We'll watch to see what that number comes out to at 10 o'clock this morning, which will be in about 27 minutes from it now. How do you combine fundamentals with technicals? Well, you're in the right place. The best way to do that, or the best way to learn about that, is to subscribe to this YouTube channel and tune in every day. We go through it together as a live stream community every single day. Fundamentals are not something that you can sort of just put in a neat little gift basket and that's it. That's it. It's a lot of work. It's consistently like looking at what's going on in the world and trying to interpret it market wise. But that's again why this is a job, right? Trading is a job. We are here putting in the work and looking for opportunities. So we're going to be taking a look at some charts here today. I'd like to start here in terms of the currency side with the dollar. Dollar has been really strong, and you can actually see the dollar from a price action standpoint was able to break out of this previous top. This is actually a really impressive jump on the dollar in my personal view, and certainly going to put some pressure on other markets, like for example, the gold market, right? So we've broken above the 102.2 mark, and it will be interesting to see if this is able to sort of to expand up to the 102.6 mark. Because again, if we're looking at this chart from a technical perspective, this break of this zone is pretty meaningful. And I think that in the short term, this leaves the dollar some room to run. So if you're a day trader, if you're short term, I would say that the dollar personally looks like it has some room to run. So what are you trading in that case? Well, maybe things like Euro USD on the short side. Again, some of this momentum seems to have been lost to the upside right now. We see the euro breaking through support structures across the board here. This is a pretty good, that's a pretty good breakout for the dollar bulls and for the euro bears here. Where could this thing go? Well, again, you have some key zones of support here, still ways away. So day traders, swing traders on the short-term side of things, there may be some room here to the downside on the euro specifically. And in fact, I think that the euro is actually on our list. Yes, it is. For sells, both the euro and the pound have poked their heads up on the edge finder here. So we get sell bias there. Sell bias there, -3. Idea here is a lot of economic numbers favor the euro here. We'll pull this up here on the full screen so we can take a closer look at the euro. What's up, Ivan? Ivan in the chat. Ivan, you're welcome to join the stream if you'd like. What is going on? Am I missing something here? Hold on. Make sure I refresh this data. Is the watch list? Did I not refresh the watch list? Something's going on. Hold on. Oh, yep. Okay. Euro is not actually on this list. That was yesterday's data. I hadn't clicked the refresh button. So again, when looking at the euro, this is actually more neutral than I thought. So we have a -1 score. Trend is still to the upside on the daily. Seasonal trends are positive in May, which is notable. When I say seasonal trends, guys, what I'm talking about is that we use seasonal trends in our analysis. And so when we look at something like the euro here, we can see that the month of May over the last 10 years is historically actually positive. So that means that during the month of May and the last 10 years, on average, there's actually a slight rise in the euro during this month. So very interesting. So yeah. Channel is very educational. It's in bite-sized chunks, so it's not too overwhelming. Thank you, Daniela. That's very nice of you. Ivan says, as I've said earlier, bearishness, then bullishness on in the weeks before FOMC happened again. Talking about overall Aussie strength. Ivan, it sounds like we need some commentary from you. Where are you at? Join the stream. So yeah, also I wanted to take a look at the pound here. So we just talked euro. Here's the pound. We've got pound. Month of April, just very slightly positive. Month of May, very slightly positive. Month of June, though, expected to be negative for the pound. That's kind of interesting. So yes, guys, we have JOLTs job openings here in just a little bit. We'll be covering that. Again, from a technical perspective, the euro seems weak right now. I don't think it's too far-fetched to see the euro continue to push down, at least to go find another attempt at some support around 109.2. But I'm not really super bearish on this thing either, because again, we know that big money is very long the euro. The people are calling for you, Ivan. So here's the thing about the euro. If you're trading the euro, you have to think about something. Euro is one of the most bought, actually, it is the most proportionally bought currency by non-commercials on the COT report data. The COT report data is something that we use to track what big money is buying and selling. Big money is buying the euro. That's not a state of an opinion. That's not a statement of opinion. It's just the fact from the COT report's latest filing. Smart money, big money, institutional money, whatever you want to call it, they are long the euro. Now, to be fair, though, they're also sort of long the dollar. There is a preference for the euro. The euro is the biggest proportionally bought currency. We could take a look at that. Euro is 76.67% long bias by institutional traders. So we know big money is very long the euro. We also know big money is very long gold. We know they're long silver. We know platinum, oil. These things are being bought by institutional traders. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that right now, just because that is the case, they're all going to fly higher. They still have room to come down in some cases if the technicals, if there's breakouts, if there's momentum. But my opinion is that on these things, downside is somewhat limited, and I'd be more interested on the long side because big money is buying these things. The same goes to the other side of the coin. When we take a look at these assets where there's a preference, a strong preference for institutional shorts, my general bias on these is going to be to the downside, right? And again, you guys can get access to this data that I'm looking at if you have the Edge Finder. If you do not have the Edge Finder, we are actually, today is officially, we are the last day. We are wrapping up our sale today. At the end of the day, the discount of 40% off will no longer be available. If you are not already using the Edge Finder and you want access to our tool, click this link. The producer's got it right there for you. Click that link. It's in the chat down below if you're watching here on YouTube, or it's on the right side of your screen if you're on your computer. Click that link, open up a direct message with us. We are the code is set to expire. So the 40% off codes are going away at the end of the day. Click tell me about your discounts right here. Today is the absolute last chance to get access to the Edge Finder for 40% off for our 1-year celebration sale. A little bit of context about my company, about what you're watching right here, how you're watching this live stream. I run a company called A1 Trading. We build software tools for traders that help bring institutional level traders to the average retail trader. And so that's sort of been our mission, our goal, to build tools like this. If you're not already using the Edge Finder and you've been thinking about getting it, this is the absolute last day to get it at the best discount price of the entire year. It is 40% off. After today, the price is going back up and you will not be able to get it for that same price. So again, today is the absolute last day for that 40% off, and it is ending in a matter of several hours here. So Don't miss it. Click that link. Click tell me about your discounts. It'll connect you with one of our support reps here, and you'll be able to get access to the Edge Finder today. So again, there is your last chance to get it. Let's also take a quick look at retail sentiment. I want to take a look at gold here in just a second. Gold is currently, in terms of retail, 55% short, 45% long. So a slight preference there. Let's open it up to major currencies as well. Feel free to pause the stream if you want to look at something specific. Dollar Swiss, very long by retail traders. Oil, Euro, NZD. These things are very long by retail traders. Dollar CAD, dollar yen, pound dollar, Aussie dollar. These things very short by retail traders. No, the reason we point this out, like for example, if we go look at Aussie dollar, right? If we take a look at Aussie dollar, we have AUD/USD. We know retail is very much, what do we say? They're very short Aussie dollar. So I'm not necessarily super interested in a short at this level, but it's an impressive push here. It did hit some resistance this morning. I don't have a huge interest in this pair, to be completely honest. I do still have my S&P 500 trade. A little bit of transparency that is coming down. It looks like I might get stopped here in just a minute. In fact, I might have just gotten stopped. This is the I am out of my trade. Yep, I got stopped here on camera for a profit. We are all out of the S&P 500 trade. So that ended up closing for I want to say about $2,200 in profit. So that was a really good trade. We took that on the stream several days back. I believe it was last Tuesday. So we rode this move to the upside there on the S&P 500 and closed out. Now, you may say, if you were watching the stream, you might have said, Nick, at one point the trade was up $3,300, and you're saying you only closed for $2,200. You gave away $1,000. That is true, but I want to talk about trailing stops because, again, I talk about them often. Trailing stops have their pros, they have their cons, and I've accepted the ups and downs with them. The ups about it is that if this thing had kept going, and I've had trades like this where it just keeps going and going, and this same trajectory lasts for 2 weeks, those are the trades that I trade for. That's my whole purpose in trading, is to spot and find those opportunities when I can. But then sometimes, things like this happen where it comes back down and it trails me out. Now, if this goes up, that will be a con of a trailing stop. Sometimes you get trailed out just before it continues. And that honestly, it's not fun. But again, the point is, there is no foolproof, bulletproof trading strategy that never has weaknesses. One thing I do like about this S&P move is that if it does break down here, that'll feel amazing, right? I'll be like, hey, look, I capitalized on the move and I cut my trade before it turned back. If it goes on without me, it won't be the first time. It's happened to me many times, but I'm still happy to have caught the majority of this move here. I feel like I played that pretty well. And especially going into a Fed meeting, I really don't mind trailing out for a profit here ahead of tomorrow's big event. Guys, real quick, we're going to take a break. We're going to hear from a sponsor. And then after that sponsor, we're going to be joined by Tom and Ivan, who are both in the backstage. So James, take it away, and then we'll bring them on afterwards.
Yeah, guys, really quickly, I want to talk to you about Superfunded. Superfunded is our official sponsored prop firm, and they have a really awesome offer for the A1 trading community today. So if you're looking to get funded, we have the solution for you. Our partner prop firm, Superfunded, is going to help traders get funded and get access to up to a $200,000 account in trading capital. The reason we chose Superfunded is because they offer traders reasonable challenge rules, a 90% profit share, up to a 1 to 30 leverage, and more. For a limited time, you can get 10% off any of their account challenges when you use the promo code A1 Trading. That's 10% off any challenge with promo code A1 Trading. Again, they have these challenges that you can take for different account sizes. The bigger account sizes will cost a little bit more, but you can get 10% off any of those challenges that you decide to attempt with promo code A1 Trading. So if you're interested in this offer, go click the link down in the description below. Thank you so much to Superfunded. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
Thank you for that, James. And we are now back. We are back joined by popular demand. We've got Tom from Simply Forex, and we've got Ivan FX from Ivan FX, and also A1 Trading Mentor. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. I wanted to just welcome Tom. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Nick. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a crazy week in the markets. We've got so many red folders on the Forex Factory. If you look at that, or my FX book, wherever you look at your news, we've got so many red folders. I also want to say hello to Ivan. What's up, Ivan? Thanks for jumping on the show, by the way.
Thank you very much. I have some clarification to be done.
Yes, I'm ready for your clarifications. I'll come to Ivan in a second. Ivan will set us straight. Tom, what are you looking at here this week? Do you have any trades on or trades that you're looking at?
I'm looking. Can you see my chart okay, guys?
Yeah, we'll pull it up.
Yeah, so I'm looking at euro pound for a short trade. It's at an interesting level right now for me, so a potential setup. Yeah, just seen price bounce off this level. Yeah, come back down, breaking these lows. So now I'm just looking for potential shorts in here, guys. Basically, I'm looking for a reaction, and then we can start taking price back down to these lows, is what I am looking at. And I really want to buy pound US dollar as well.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the idea on pound dollar?
So if we go to pound US dollar, so on this is the day chart. We was clearly in an uptrend, yeah, and it found itself in a bit of a range, yeah, between these two prices here. And then once we got this candle, guys, I was just looking for, more room to the upside. A potential target here where I will close some of my trade and then let some of it run. But just waiting for a time to get in, and buy this pair, really. I know you're interested in buying euro US dollar. So,
Yeah, I really like the pound dollar idea, Tom. And we actually talked last week. We talked a little bit about, if you remember, like the interest rate divergences. We talked a little bit about, the UK and their situation with super high levels of inflation. If we pull up the inflation chart, I always find this very interesting. The divergence. I already had it pulled up from earlier. The divergence between the UK's really, really crazy above 10% still levels of inflation compared to the US's declining inflation. It's an interesting story because it actually creates a fundamental catalyst to go along with your technical charts, which I also liked, because again, you have a nice upward trend. As you're mentioning, the daily chart looks pretty healthy, but then also you have this fundamental catalyst where the Bank of England, they have such a problem in front of them with this 10% inflation. They're going to have to raise rates, and it's sort of up in the air with the Federal Reserve whether or not they will also continue to raise rates or if they're going to pause. But either ways, we know one thing: we know that the UK almost certainly has to continue to raise rates to get that inflation problem. So it creates a double whammy where you have the nice technicals, but you also have the fundamentals. So I really like that that concept.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Ivan, what's your thoughts? I know you've got a couple things you're looking at. Do you want to talk first on the pound and then maybe clarify on this Fed meeting that's coming up?
Yeah, I was wanting to clarify the US dollar because I said in the chat, I said bearishness then bullishness on dollar, and you thought it was Aussie.
Okay, yeah, I only barely read your headline message. So give us the rundown on the Aussie. Tell us what you're thinking.
So they came out unexpected today with a higher rate hike projection. They're going to hike one more time. As far as I know, nobody expected it. Maybe a couple of few, but none of the major ones. So it was not as expected. And as you can see here, or as you can see on the chart, we did rise pretty straightforward, straight up. Now we're breaking lower. So I've seen in chat somebody has sold Aussie dollar, and somebody's probably going to buy it. The case here is he going to make a higher high? If it makes a higher high, great. It's a clear cut case of bullishness. But what generally tends to happen is that we price in the news and then we collapse down. So that's my take.
So, okay, so there was I didn't even hear about this, so I'm late to the party. So with Australian dollar, they had sort of expectations for a further rate hike than expected. It caused the Aussie to pump, and now you're sort of saying, okay, that now the rumor has come into the news, and you're thinking that it's due for sort of a sell off, or are you looking to buy the Aussie dollar?
Can you go back to Forex Factory?
Yeah.
Because they had an interesting meeting today, which
Oh, the cash rate,
which
yes.
they
Okay.
had a 25 basis point rate hike today,
Okay, I'm sorry.
which was
Yeah.
not expected.
Yep.
As you can see, previous 3.6 forecast was with 3.6, and they came out on 3.85.
Got it.
That's where it comes from. That's where, and then they said then they said for the next meeting they're going to hike again, or for the future they're
Got
going to
it.
hike again.
Got it.
Then
Okay.
I say that news theory, how news works, is that the initial push is the initial news. If there's no more news coming out, we will then cripple downwards. So as long as this one is making lows, I said go ahead if you want to short it. Not any advice whatsoever. But if it goes higher high, sure, then Australian dollar can continue its bullish uptrend. I don't expect a bullish uptrend continuation.
Fair enough.
Unless US dollar becomes bearish.
Yeah, which of course is an interesting one. You've got tomorrow being a big event. We also have in just a couple of minutes, guys, we've got the speaking of Forex Factory, we got the JOLTs job openings. Should be interesting, coming out in 6 minutes or so. I want to go to Tom with that Australian dollar here for a second. Tom, what do you think? Any Aussie pairs that you're interested in now? Do you have any on your watch list or not really?
Not really, but I've got a level through here on Aussie dollar, US dollar. So if this daily candle, if this, large wick remains on the daily candle, then, I'm still seeing potential shorts for Aussie dollar, US dollar. It's in a downtrend for me, and this is potentially a new lower high. So, we have some room to move into, but it really depends on today's daily candle and how big that wick is and how it finishes. But
Sure.
before today, I was also looking at New Zealand US dollar. So that obviously both highly correlated. And then if I bring up the New Zealand US dollar chart, we're seeing New Zealand US dollar at a really nice level. We had this candle here form yesterday, which I was interested to take shorts on, potentially back down to here. And if this, if this last high holds, then, I'm still interested in this pair. And if we drop to the H4, you can see we've had quite a H4 reaction at this level. So, if we get some follow through here, then potentially interested in New Zealand US dollar shorts and Aussie dollar US dollar shorts. But I really want those last daily highs to hold before I start looking for shorts.
And to both of you guys' points, I would say, both with the New Zealand dollar that I'm looking at, as well as the Australian dollar, tomorrow as we go into the Fed meeting, it's going to have a lot of a potentially driving effect to a potential new trends, because with Ivan pointing out that, of course, the Australian dollar, they raised more than expected. There's some hawkishness to be expected. The question is this going to have the steam to sort of break us to the upside on some of these downtrends? Or is the Federal Reserve going to match that hawkishness and just cause this rally to turn into a big sell-off? So I think tomorrow really will set some trends. And in terms of a lot of times analysts, what they'll do is they'll talk continuously in theory. They'll never actually call shots. But I really appreciate that with both of you guys and with the goal with the show, we lay out our ideas. So for me, I would say that with Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, tomorrow's tone from the Federal Reserve will probably cause some directional bias here for me in the next week or so. So for example, let's say that the Federal Reserve is more dovish than expected, and this causes the Australian dollar to just rocket higher. And of course, as Tom mentioned, with some high levels of correlation there, we'd probably see similar concepts with the New Zealand dollar. That breakout, any sort of pullbacks, I would say, hey, that's a fundamental catalyst to the upside. The dollar looks really weak, and there may be some great continuations. But if they match that hawkishness, this thing probably starts to completely sell off. And what I'd be looking for from in terms of tangible ideas personally would be levels of support to break and then looking for retest sells. So again, here's like the Australian dollar, a couple levels of key support. So if price were to become very hawkish and erase these gains that we made, if the US dollar, if the US was to be very hawkish in their Fed meeting tomorrow, it could break key structure. So what I'd be looking for personally tomorrow in terms of tangible trade setups would be broken levels of support structure or breaking levels of resistance structure, and then sort of looking for that momentum to carry whichever direction the market looks to go in. And to Ivan's point about like pullbacks, right? You get a possible big break tomorrow to the upside. If we get a dovish Fed, the Aussie dollar on pullbacks to me looks very interesting. So we'll just have to sort of wait and see what happens with that Fed meeting tomorrow. So that's my take on it. Ivan, anything else you wanted to clarify? Because I know you clarified a little bit here for us already. And also we've got, keep me on my head on a swivel. We got 2 minutes here until jobs numbers come out. So what are we thinking?
New Zealand CAD hit stop loss. So that's a new higher high. Yeah, worse. Oh, that was a wrong chart. There we go. So I'm like, okay, let me. If it's going to go bearish, let's wait for the return of it, so we don't have the typical thing that you do say, don't hold trades for too long in loss. So So and then,
Ivan, quick question for you. I think did you decided to hop out of your NZD CAD trade early, like you controlled that loss, right? Because you said, hey, it's making higher highs, let me go ahead and get out of there kind of thing. I think I saw your message about that. Is that right? Nice.
Here, I got out here. So that is a break of that one. And there was a continuation higher highs. I was really hopeful. What is it? Yesterday evening, where it made a new low. I was like, yes, this is going to go lower.
Yeah.
And no, it didn't.
Well, you know,
exactly the same.
Yeah, Tom, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I had exactly the same. There was so much, those candles on the day chart were just telling us it wanted, that sellers were sitting in there, you know, and it just broke all of those daily bearish wicks, basically. Yeah, and I got stopped out as well.
You can really see it on the daily chart. Like that daily chart is aggressive. Guys, also just to take over for a second here, we got 30 seconds here before the news. I just want to focus in on what is about to come in. So of course we have JOLTs job openings, going to impact probably some of the US dollar pairs, possibly gold and the S&P 500. And I just want to see what we get, and then we can maybe dive into some impacted markets here in terms of jobs. 9.74 million jobs. We'll see what we get here on the numbers. If anybody in the audience has it, by the way, please feel free to share it in the chat. Sometimes Forex Factory is a little bit delayed. Ivan, if you have it sooner, also feel free to share it as well. I know sometimes you have it like right away. On a dollar here, 1 hour chart. It says pending here on Forex Factory. All right, there it is.
9.59 million.
Okay, so slightly less than expected job openings here in the US. Very interesting and possibly market moving here. Yep, dollar coming down here a little bit, which is exactly what you might expect, especially ahead of a Fed meeting. If jobs show any signs of slowing, you know, it could show, of course, jobs a lead indicator, a powerful indicator of inflation as well. So, Ivan, any first reactions to this release?
Yeah, it's always fun to have a release. As long as I can make my New Zealand trades go into profit, then I will be happy. But now I'm out of dollars, so and also pound, as you mentioned earlier, I would say it's a bit too much up and down for me. So even though this makes dollar bullish, bear, sorry, I'll still have to wait. You know, this is still a low. Australian dollar maybe makes a new high. So I'm still very much dollar isn't where I wanted to be for me to be bearish on it.
Ivan, explain this one to me. Why is the S&P dropping on that?
What is
job openings?
What is
down.
JOLTs done? But what is JOLTs done? Job openings, right?
Right.
So there is less money being made by businesses because if they're making a lot of money, they will hire more people. So that would mean that the businesses and stock market shouldn't do as good as. Where's my calendar? Yeah, it's not as good as. So that's why dollar will weaken, but also S&P would fall.
Yeah, so interesting. So we're kind of getting this reaction here, and making me feel a little bit better about my S&P trailing stop getting hit here this morning. Is there any bottom that you like on this, Ivan, or are you just out of the way when it comes to the S&P?
Oh, I buy blindly. I don't care if it's fall, summer, winter. I just buy whenever it is at the beginning of the month. And
well,
technically,
you're talking about long-term investment. Let's
talk
talk trading here
because
anything
if I start trading S&P, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's try to catch the bottom kind of a thing, and then it goes up again kind of a thing. So I actually do not. Once it broke that low there at 41.60, it can go all the way down to 40.60 technically until it reverses again. So I'm very ambivalent. Is that what they call it? Yeah.
Sure.
I want to stay away from it right now.
That's probably also a good, I was gonna say probably a good call to be very cautious. Regardless, you're kind of jumping in front of a freight train when it comes to the Fed meeting tomorrow. Tom, any idea on the indices? Take your pick if you want to look at Nasdaq, Dow, S&P. Do you have any that you're interested in?
They're all excuse me. They're all at difficult levels. I mean, S&P, is clearly in an uptrend, but it's at an area of resistance. So I struggle with this. I can't buy into resistance. So this is what we're seeing on the S&P daily chart. So I can't, they're just at difficult levels for me. So I can't buy into that. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. I think that's similar. Yeah, we're at these, these daily highs here. Yeah, we're at these daily highs. If I see this push on, start breaking these daily highs, then, I'm interested in longs. But, with that poor employment data, let's see how it reacts. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking for longs. If you look at the weekly chart here, there's room for me to the upside. Yeah, we're clearly...
This is NASDAQ here.
Yeah, this is the NASDAQ, guys. Sorry. So we're clearly in an uptrend, and look at this weekly candle. Yeah, so lots of buyers, and I still think there's room to the upside, but on that day chart, it's stuttering a bit, at these highs. So difficult for me to buy this as yet. Potentially if we got a bit of a retrace down to the moving average 20, even back down to this level, my bias is still long.
Sure.
But yeah, I need some value. I need a retrace before I start taking any buys on any of the indices, really.
No, that makes sense. And to your point there, Tom and Ivan, you guys both pointed out exactly what I was thinking as well. So on my recent trade that I've been covering on the channel, you guys both pointed out the previous high on the S&P. And what I kind of thought would happen here, I was feeling a little bit maybe overly optimistic. When we had the break here, we broke above, things looked promising, and I said, hey, this is looking great. I'm going to go ahead and trail my stop just below this wick low and lock this in. You guys mentioned with NZD CAD, there was signs of selling, and then it completely changed directions. Same thing happened to me on the buy side with my S&P trade, because again, price shot through here, and I said, hey, this looks like it's got a runway in front of it to keep going. And sure enough, it pulled the old 1-2 and dropped back. Of course, I trailed out of it. I'm feeling okay about it. But similar to you guys, I'm probably not interested in jumping in unless, Tom, to your point, we get a deeper pullback. And Ivan, to your point, we have the Fed meeting tomorrow. So I'm not necessarily willing to jump in. And this is why we do this, as a community on the channel here on the live streams, is because, you got to be aware of this stuff. And many new traders might jump into something right before a Fed meeting and have no idea that the price is about to, I think we've all been there, done that before. So a bit of a tough time. We haven't talked about gold yet. Ivan, do you have any thoughts on gold?
Can I be the potted pepper? Can I be
Sure.
like,
Party
is there
pooper,
range?
bring it in. We need
Like,
that.
what are we even talking about? Oh, gold is rising. What's going on? Come on. Like, it's range, bro. Like, what kind of value, what kind of trend is this? We are trend traders. We're not opportunistic people.
Right.
We wait for our strategy to come together, and I don't see anything. I might be blind. Maybe I need glasses, but I see a range.
I don't think you're being a party pooper, because this chart has been, in my opinion, probably one of the most frustrating charts that I've looked at in a couple months, because gold has just consistently stayed between 2010 and 1975, and I'm feeling like a broken record, because people, as content creators, people love trading their gold. And this is why, guys, I think that when we bring on Ivan and Tom, both experienced traders, and you hear me talking through this stuff, we don't trade a single chart. And I know that a lot of times it's popular for people to say, like, oh, stick to what you know, stick to one thing you trade. But what if what you trade range bounds for like 3 months and you have no trades, you have nothing to do? So, and of course, you guys could see we've talked about several markets here. Tom pulled up his NZD ideas, and Ivan with Aussie ideas. We're here sort of exchanging ideas, because the rotation changes. Things that we're trading sort of change over time. So, Tom, any thoughts on gold? And if so, what would get you guys interested in gold? What would have to happen with the gold price to get you interested?
A small miracle. It's disgusting price action. It's it's horrible, like you say. I mean, it's just in this this box of indecision. And even if we leave this box of indecision, which is disgusting, even if we come up here, if we leave the box, we're still coming into immediate resistance. And if we break to the downside, we're still coming into immediate support. If, like you say, if gold was the only thing you looked at, you might not have a trade for 12 years at this rate. You just cannot, even if we have a break, it's going to find resistance or support. It's become untradeable, really. It's just, difficult to trade that one.
Very different than you look just slightly left on your chart there, and you've got March trending beautifully to the upside. You've got April making these beautiful moves. This was much more tradable than, to Ivan's point, I don't think you're being a party pooper. I think you're just sort of calling it what it is. It's just a range bound, indecisive market. And of course, you guys know this, because you're in the same boat as me on the content side. People ask us all the time, what are you doing with gold right now? Are you buying gold? What's the thought on gold? Yes. It's a constant stream and it's like, sometimes you go to what's trading the way you want, not necessarily, forcing a trade on something that's not doing anything of interest. So, Ivan, you're interested in the NZD pairs. Tom, it seems like you had a little bit of that. Any charts going forward that you're outside of Euro Pound? Do you have any other trades that are pressing for you or close to getting involved, Tom?
So like I say, I'm really keen on that pound US dollar, as I explained earlier. So that's a trade I'm really keen on. I was looking at the yen pairs, but how far can they go? And you can see now we're seeing a bit of a reaction on Aussie dollar
look at that
yen.
reaction.
Yeah, and let's have a look at CAD yen, because these were two of my potential ones that I was looking to trade. But we're seeing a huge reaction on that yen. So I wouldn't, if a candle finished like this on the yen pairs, regardless if we're in an uptrend, I cannot buy that candle. Let's say today finished right now, it's at potentially a good area of support here, but I just cannot buy that candle. It just wouldn't make sense to me. So I was looking at yen pairs, but we're seeing a bit of a turnaround in yen strength there.
Sure,
but I still think potentially there's room back up to this level here on Canadian yen, so this 102 level. But if we get this daily candle finish like this, I expect a bit more room to the downside before we can take it back up.
Fair enough.
So yeah, the yen pairs are interesting at the moment.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about euro yen and pound yen, and so cool to see another angle with that CAD yen. We had someone else in the chat, Angeline, mentioned dollar CAD. I've got it pulled up here, and it is a beautiful chart here this morning. Dollar CAD came down to 1.3540. It tagged support here, previous resistance, this consolidation box here, breakout to the upside, finally made its way back, and you can see the dollar just coming in strong here. One thing that we've noticed about the CAD pairs and the yen pairs that we were just talking about, in terms of COT report stuff, the Japanese yen and the Canadian dollar are the two most shorted proportional assets on the list. I'm sorry, that's the US 10-year. The CAD, which is right next to it, the most two shorted currencies on the list. So you've got CAD and JPY, both heavily short by institutional traders. I find it very interesting that, of course, the yen is, has been overall been getting smacked pretty bad, and same with the CAD, giving way to some of these really big up moves on dollar CAD. Ivan, do you have any thoughts on dollar CAD? Is this one that you look at ever?
Save me from the heart attack. Yes, I do look at it, and that's one thing I do there. I've lost so many if I use the CAD that I can't even count on my 10 fingers. I think I saw someone in the group buying USD CAD. I'm like, yeah, good on you. But yeah, I haven't opened my eyes for it. No.
Yeah, I don't have any longs on it either, but it is an impressive breakout there, and it looks to me like it wants to head back to the previous highs. But again, we'll have to be cautious. If it does get up to those highs, be extra careful in my view, especially going into tomorrow's Fed meeting. Dollar CAD will likely be very impacted by that. Whether it breaks out higher or reverses is unknown. But of course, a lot of times price will make a stopping point prior to a big meeting and sort of just pause or even give back some of that. To Ivan's point, sometimes you talk about profit taking after a big run up. Any profit taking ideas before the event, Ivan? Because I know that's something you talk about. Like when you get a big run up prior to an event, sometimes there's some sort of profit taking. You think that's possible on any dollar crosses?
Okay, if I can just allow myself to do things for 2 seconds. First of all, we hit to take profit on dollar last week on then, and we are running for the hills this week as well. So to be honest, there might be some profit taking on some pound shorts, I would argue. But the thing is that pound is in itself very strong. So even though if you get dollar strength, it's going to be a hard battle. Euro in itself has been incredibly strong, and also just went higher. So I wouldn't argue that there is any profit taking. I would just say that everyone is just waiting for something to happen tomorrow. It's going to be fun as a ride, but yeah, we're just going to wait for it to see.
Yeah, it's going to be to me, it's kind of, and I think we're all sort of in the same boat with a big Fed meeting like this. Newer traders are like loading the boat on stuff. And, it seems like more veteran, I guess, maybe burnt out traders over time. They're more like on the sidelines and sort of more willing to wait going into an event like this. That S&P 500 still coming down here following the JOLTs numbers that came out. Look at that reaction. What a sell-off. If it keeps going, I'm gonna get tempted back into another buy, but I'm gonna try and hold off on that for now. So, yeah. Any final thoughts, Tom? Any last charts that you wanted to mention before we close up the shop today?
What else was I looking at? A couple of Swiss franc pairs. So we were looking at Euro, Swiss franc. Let's pull up the day chart. Now let's look at pound Swiss franc, actually. It's at quite an interesting level. So for me, guys, on the, I'm seeing it in a range, basically. Yeah, it's been ranging from between these two grey areas of resistance and support. Okay. And over the last few days, I've just seen a bit of a structure break on the day chart. Yeah, we wasn't making lower lows. It found buyers at this level, yeah, as we expected, and then price pushed back up, you know, breaking this last high here. We've had a break above the moving average 20. So again, I'm interested in buying this pair potentially back up to one of these levels as well. It is shooting down as we speak, but you know, there's this last H1 low here. So let's see how it reacts here. Yeah, if it starts, you know, breaking down, not so interested. But if this gray zone kind of holds and we get a bit of, you know, a bullish candle, some buying pressure, I'm interested in buying this pair.
Yeah, I always like a chart like that, Tom, because it's kind of like when it's coming down to its last level support, you're either going to see a breakout or you're going to see the best value buy for a little while. And to be honest, when I see charts like that, it's like, hey, if I'm bullish, that's where I'm thinking best risk to reward exists. We've talked about that on a couple streams back. You, me, and Frank had a long conversation about, you know, how waiting for those prime entry ideas can really tighten up that risk to reward. And, you know, if this was to do something simple as this is a 4-hour chart, to your point, if it were to bounce here and you were long biased, let's just say, you know, the risk to reward here, you're risking very small to get like 3.5 R. I mean, that's where we like looking for those sort of opportunities. So yeah, good idea there on pound Swiss. We'll have to watch that one. Tom, Ivan, thank you guys for coming on. Before we say goodbye to you guys, I just want to give you guys both a shout out. If you guys are not following these guys, they come on the stream on a regular basis. They're both great traders to have on and hear from. So you guys clearly in the audience are fans of them as well. So if you're not already, make sure to go subscribe first, to go check out Tom's channel. His link is right here in the chat. Click that link. It'll take you to Simply Forex, which is his YouTube channel. And of course, also the one and only Ivan FX, who is also on YouTube. You can find him here. His link. Click that link. It'll take you over, and make sure to subscribe to both of these guys and keep up with them there in case you don't see them on the show every day. Tom, Ivan, thank you guys for coming on.
Cheers, Nick. Cheers, Ivan. See you next week, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you're looking to get funded, check out Superfunded's examination today and get 10% off when you use the code A1 Trading. Click the link in the description below to find out more. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.